I think what draws me to whitewater is the sense of adventure, of wanting to constantly be progressing and pushing yourself. I've yet to find any outlet where I can find the same level of happiness and enjoyment that I get out of paddling. I've been planning to make a trip up to Ram Falls. It's a 100-foot waterfall situated just a few hours north of Calgary. It was first run in 2012 by a group of 3. I finally reached a point in my kayaking career where I feel like that's the next step that I'd want to take.
For me, waterfalls are always very exciting. It's something that happens very quick, so the moments that you get to enjoy are very brief, but they are very intense. To be here in the search of another 100-footer, it's something very unique that motivates me, that makes me feel alive. Ram Falls is a very special waterfall. I look at that thing and it calls me.
On our first trip out to Ram Falls, we tried to time water levels and the weather with our arrival at the park. And when we actually ended up getting there, there was a huge change in the weather pattern that resulted in the river level basically dropping down to one of the lowest flows that it runs at throughout the season. To drive all the way from the west coast of BC, I thought that everything was going to fall perfectly into place, and then, right at the last minute, it all came crashing down. A few weeks after we got back from Ram Falls, I was flipping through my Instagram, and I actually came across a photo of Ram that someone had taken that weekend, and the waterfall was actually flooded and it had quite a bit of water going through it. I called Aniol and asked him if he wanted to go on a trip with us. Aniol has been pushing the limits of whitewater kayaking over the last couple of years. It was awesome having Aniol agree to come on the trip because it gave me a lot of confidence towards making the entire mission actually happen.
I've met Ed something like 5 years ago. He was probably the kid that is more motivated about kayaking, really stoked about kayaking. He's grown up to be a big man, a really good kayaker, and I'm very proud of him for stepping it up and getting to a spot where he's sending some big waterfalls, and he's doing it with style. In order to run big waterfalls successfully, you need a lot of experience. You can't just step up to run 100-footers, feel confident running 50-footers, 40-footers, and from there you step up a little bit more and a bit more.
It's been really nice to really solidify the feeling that I have and the control that I have when I'm in free fall. I've really been able to lock in my lines, and I feel like I've just had the perfect amount of opportunities line up this year leading up to Ram Falls. It's kind of crazy that everything fell into place the way it did. I knew that we were embarking on a pretty committing trip, driving however many hours it was to get out to Alberta. It felt like there was a little bit of pressure for me. I knew I wanted to run the waterfall. I didn't know what the circumstances would be when we got there. I just didn't want to disappoint myself and everyone else, and I was just mostly trying not to think about that and just really enjoying the trip, going up with all the guys. And
was very beautiful, seeing the Rockies for the first time, huge mountains and big rivers and lakes and really wild and virgin place.
The Canadian Rockies are unlike any mountain range I've ever witnessed in my entire life. It's almost like they come from a different world. It's definitely the land of giants. Once we got to Ram Falls, we had to make our risk assessment of the entire drop and what it would take for Aniol and I to successfully run Ram. There were a lot of factors that had to be considered.
I really want to look at the leap and be very realistic with what am I going to do, how am I going to approach it, what speed, what kind of stroke I'm going to take, how far to the left or to the right I want to be. I really want to look at all those things and make a plan. I just close my eyes and imagine myself doing it, and when I get nervous, that's when I do weird stuff, and that's when I have bad lines, so just stay tranquilo, you know?
Gearing up, walking our boats down to the river, the only thing I could think about was really me running the waterfall and just envisioning that line. Just telling myself exactly what I had to do.
Biggest day of my life, I think, at this point.
Once you're going for it and you are in your boat, you have to be 100% confident you're gonna have a good line and that you're gonna come out of it good. As I'm getting in my kayak, I know every stroke I'm gonna take, I know what my body's gonna do. Paddling towards a 100-foot horizon, it is one of the craziest feelings in this world. For the 2-3 seconds that you are in the air, it feels like flying.
I definitely had doubt, being unsure if I would even make the call to run it or not. And I think all the nerves and the anxiety disappeared as soon as I pushed myself into the river. When I had realized that I hadn't even flipped over, I was kind of in shock.
I think that Ed has a lot of potential. He's still a young cat. I've spent the last 10 years doing the same, traveling all over the world, so it's a great life, but you gotta work for it, and I think that he can do it.
That was one of the craziest experiences that I'll ever have, and it was just kind of the perfect day with the perfect crew. Everything went better than I think I ever could have dreamed of.